Hello, everybody. Welcome to Married Lifers. Tonight we're going to be talking about insecurities.
More women insecurities than men because we don't really have insecurities like women do.
Okay. If you say so, sir.
What?
I said, if you say so, sir.
Okay.
I don't agree. I don't want to agree with that because I feel attacked when you say that, but I kind of guess you are right.
Yeah, because women, I mean, I'm not saying we don't, I think we just hide them better or something, you know what I mean? Or, yeah, I would say that. That would be a good analysis of it. And we hide them better.
You hide your insecurities better, but you still have them.
What better?
I said, but you still have them.
I don't know. I mean,
Really?
I think we do to some degree, but but not like the way women do. I mean, that's my opinion anyway.
So,
I'm not saying I'm right or anything like that. I'm just saying.
In our relationship, what is your biggest insecurity?
In our relationship?
Yeah, in our relationship.
Insecurity?
Yeah.
That I'm insecure about.
Really?
I don't know.
So, what is an insecurity that you can think of off the top of your head?
An insecurity?
Yes, an insecurity, babe.
For me?
For you.
For me? For me?
For you?
I would say maybe when you leave the state, because I feel empty without you.
You're ridiculous, dude. So you can't think of an insecurity that you have within relationships. Like, I know you don't like to open up and say stuff, but that's what this is about, is insecurities. You have insecurities. You have insecurities when it comes to us. You have insecurities in general. You're supposed to be able to share that.
Okay, well, tell me what it is, and we'll discuss it. What do you feel one of mine is then?
What do you feel one of mine is?
That I could probably leave you for somebody else or something.
And you don't think you have that same insecurity?
That's every girl's insecurity.
But you don't think you have that same one when it comes to me?
Do I have what?
You don't think you have that same one when it comes to me?
The same thing?
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, just say yes. Just say yes.
What?
I said just say yes, because you do.
I don't try to think about it. It's not something that I dwell on.
Okay, but we're not talking about dwelling on it, but it's an insecurity.
Yeah, but I'm saying it because it's insecurity. If it's something you're thinking about, I don't think about it like that. I don't operate like that. So we're not sitting here. We don't have fights because you went to the store and like, hey, who are you talking to? You went out and hung out with your friends. Who are you around or this and that? That's not my insecurity. There's a lot of guys that have that insecurity, but you know that I don't have that insecurity. I don't act like that. I'm not saying that I couldn't have them and stuff like that. It's just they don't bug me the way they do other men. It becomes an insecurity when there's a problem or there's some kind kind of reason or inappropriate behavior or something that would cause it, I guess. But like just out of the blue, I trust you, so that doesn't become an insecurity. An insecurity would be something that I'm saying that I would believe that there's something wrong that's causing me to feel that way or something like that. That's my interpretation of dealing with it. You know what I mean?
I guess. Because I don't just randomly accuse you of shit like that either.
Huh?
I don't just randomly accuse you of shit like that either.
No, I know that. I'm just saying, for me, for me, that I don't have the same hang-ups as most men do. I don't think in those terms. I never have. But I'm not saying that I'm immune to not feeling any feelings like that or something like that. But for so long, I've dealt with things in my life a certain way that I like to expect the worst to happen. So when it does happen, that blow, when it comes, it doesn't hit me. It doesn't hit me hard or hurt as much in that way. You know what I mean?
I get that, but I feel like me and you are at a different place. Like we're past all of that. So you shouldn't have, to me, in my perception, you shouldn't have that thinking when it comes to us. And if you still have that thinking when it comes to us, then we have bigger problems.
Yeah.
So do you still have that?
Huh?
Do you still have that?
I still have what?
Where you're expecting the worst, so it's not such a big blow. Like, do you still have that feeling when it comes to us?
I do.
I said, do you? I'm
Oh
asking.
no, not. I'm saying not like I did when we first got together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But but I'm saying that's how I deal with those things. You know what I mean? Like I'm just talking about in life in general. I'm just saying the way I've dealt with those type of things, so that that them blows didn't hit me. But I'm talking about if insecurities. But if I did have insecurities, and I'm not saying I don't, I'm just trying to off the top, because you're talking about like us and our relationship, but I don't think in that terms. I'm not. I trust you, so when you go out with your friends, I'm not thinking like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It only becomes an insecurity if there becomes an issue. If there was an issue that pops up, and let's say you're lying to me about something, you know what I mean? Then something pops up and it's like, damn, you know what I mean? Is she doing this? Now I'm starting to feel some type of way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if that's being caused by you in our relationship, then it becomes a problem. But if we haven't experienced that, and I'm not having that problem, what am I supposed to be insecure for?
Okay, so what
you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
What I'm trying to get you to realize is what you're saying is you said that that's my insecurity as well, right?
What?
Of you leaving me for somebody else, right?
No, I'm saying because that was something we've talked about before. That if that's, I'm talking about in the beginning of our relationship, those things that you felt.
Yeah. Okay.
But
yeah, that was a big.
About right now, when you ask me what my work, and I'm like, well, technically I don't have them, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I don't ever feel some type of way about something, but it depends on the situation that's causing that feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there has to be a cause and effect to make it happen. You know what I mean?
So a reason. There has to be a reason.
I don't just get angry just to be angry. There has to be a reason something makes me angry. I don't get sad just to be that's different. But don't just laugh just to laugh. Something makes me laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have gotten sad just for no reason. I don't know why, but I don't like to do that. So that's for bottling up everything or something. I don't know what that is, but
that's exactly what that is.
All the other emotions, they don't happen without a cause to them.
Well, I think what I'm trying to say is I think that's normal for everybody. Like I understand what you're saying with us at the beginning, because when we got back together this go round, like we fought a lot at the beginning of our relationship, and I don't know why we talked about it. So I do know why I was doing that. When I was like, if you didn't call me, I'm like, are you talking to another bitch? And then we talked about the whole phone list shit. So that was, it wasn't out of nowhere, but it was for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you know where it was coming from, but it wasn't something that you caused. So for you, it was out of nowhere, but you understood where it was coming from. So there was a reason for it. It just wasn't a reason that you gave me to be acting crazy.
Very true.
But it wasn't just, it wasn't just out of nowhere. Like I had reasons for why I was tripping like that.
Yeah, past trauma.
Yes, past trauma.
Past trauma. So,
and we talked about that.
But I'm saying now would you feel that there's insecurity still of some degree or for certain things or whatever?
Yeah, because there's some times where I'll catch myself. We talked about this. When you say certain things to me, and it makes me think. You remember when, how you say what when you don't want to answer me? So recently when you said that to me about something I asked you, like that triggered something, if you will. You know what I mean? Because then I start thinking crazy again. Yeah, babe, because when you say what, when you say what, like you tell me what when you don't want to answer something.
That's just women.
Just say it though. Say it so they can understand.
That's the way they want them to.
Say it the way you say it so you can understand.
What?
Say it the way you say it when you don't want to answer my question.
What?
So when you say what like that, right? Yeah, when you say it like that, you don't want to answer me. So for little things, like I'll tell you, baby, did you eat today? And if you didn't eat, what is your response?
What?
Okay. So the other day when I asked you a question about something, you answered me like that, right?
I don't know.
It wasn't the other day. It was like a couple weeks ago. Because I asked you, what was it? It was something, I don't think it was that specifically. What was it? I can't remember what it was. Somebody had told you about something. I think it was C's. You said C's had told you about it. But at first you didn't want to tell me how you knew. And you were like, what? So that triggered me.
Hold on, I'm trying to think what it was.
It was something that had to do with the outside. Because remember, the recent one was when you said, when you were talking about the $25 background checks that they do now.
Okay.
But
in Arizona.
Yeah. So, but that's not the one I was talking about.
Which has been going on for years.
Yes, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's the most recent one I can think of, though. But when you did that, like you responded right away. But it was something fucking C's told you. Because you didn't want to say it at first, and then you realized what you were doing. And I think you realized my reactions started changing to you, and you told me who told you. What the fuck was it? I know it wasn't the tablets.
I don't know.
Anyways, you get what I'm saying. So I asked you a question and you didn't want to answer it. So you said, what? And I got annoyed because at that time, that's.
It wasn't about not wanting to answer. I was just like, what?
Okay, but for the normal, when we have a conversation and you do that, when you say, what? It's because you don't want to answer me. Just like I asked you, did you have water today? And you know that's a thing because I want you drinking water all day. And you're like, what? Because it's funny to you because you did not have water. So you don't want to answer it. So you just say, what? You get what I'm saying. Stop being difficult.
Yes.
So when you did that, so listen. When you did that to me that day, right away, I'm like, what bitch are you talking to that you knew that information? And I think the way I started responding to you, I think you realized where I was going with it. So right away you're like, I think it was C's that said it. But that triggered me to make me think like, you know, what bitch did he fucking talk to? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, that was my first thought.
I'm confused, but okay, yeah, I get it.
But I'm saying like that triggered that insecurity is what you're talking about. Like what triggers the insecurities? Like for me, that day recently, that triggered that for me when you did that. Because it's like you didn't want to tell me who told you it and why.
So it's just craziness.
No. Because when you ask a question, if I would have did that to you, if I would have did that to you in any other sense, you would have lost your mind too. Baby. You want to sit there and act like you're Mr. Tuffy Tough and nothing bothers you, but there's things that bother you. You know damn well.
I started off this conversation saying that there are things that do happen. It depends what the trigger is and what's going on. What's the cause for the effect of it.
True. But I'm just saying.
I just don't act crazy just for crazy stuff like women do. But
do you feel like I did that to you a lot?
Yeah, it's a woman trait, in my opinion. So when everybody starts complaining, I'm saying in my opinion.
It's a woman's trait.
Yeah. Everybody knows women are crazy.
I don't know what's going on with my computer. It didn't want to start.
Huh?
I don't know what's going on with my computer. It was like downloading and installing some kind of program, so I had to get on through the iPad. So I'm over here messing with it, trying to get it to finish doing its thing and restarting.
So you're not doing it?
No, I'm doing it from the iPad, I said.
Oh.
But I'm messing with my computer at the same time because I'm trying to get it to go back on. So I have to restart it.
You
have 60 seconds remaining.
Yeah, because I just bought this laptop and I don't know why it's installing shit now. You know what I mean?
I'll hop on once the slot opens because they're all filled up and somebody's in line right here. After I get off.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe we should start recording these because I'm not going to be on here by myself. But I love you. Because that's like 20 minutes waiting for you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
You do. I love you.
I love you too. Petunia, are you on? I love you. I was asking Petunia if she's on so I could talk to her about stuff so I don't have to hang up or end the live.
What?
Nothing. I love you. I love you more.
You can't get frustrated.
Baby, I just said I was talking to Petunia. Ooh. Okay, guys, I think we're going to start doing a few of recorded ones just because lately with the phones, my husband's not able to be on continually with me. You know what I mean? And I feel weird just talking to myself. But I do agree with him to some degree. Okay, hi. Did you hear anything we were talking about? So anyways, I do agree with him to some degree. Girls are, in my opinion, I don't want anybody to get upset, but in my opinion, girls are a little bit more crazy when it comes to insecurities. But guys have the same type of insecurities. They just don't say it out loud. You know what I mean? Like they just don't want to talk about it. They want to like push it to the side and make it seem like it's just the girl. Well, he had to get off, and I didn't know if I should stay on, but I don't want to talk to myself. So tell your brother to get off the phone. I'm about to text him. Tell him get off the phone. I need Petunia. So we were talking about insecurities, and he was trying to say that girls have insecurities, and he really doesn't have them unless there's an issue to have them or bring them up. Because he really, like, you know him, he doesn't like to argue about stuff. To your email? Give me a second, guys, so I can send her the link. But I understand what he's saying when he's talking about the insecurities and it triggering. You know what I mean? Like it has to be triggered. I think for girls, sometimes we just trip because we're emotional and we have a lot of things going on. But they have insecurities like we do too. And I think if you guys have, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but for me, I've noticed a lot where guys try to act like they don't have insecurities, but they do. But when they're on social media, like you see that more. Because I swear to God, I see more guys on there complaining, like throwing out their feelings and being like, oh, this girl did this and that. And it's like, I thought it was girls that cried and act like babies. You know what I mean? But it's more like guys are doing it. They're the ones on Facebook venting, if you will, talking about all kinds of things. Like I trip out on that because I see that a lot. I'll see guys on there talking so much shit. It's like more guys than girls running their mouths on Facebook or on any kind of social media about everything, like all their feelings. And I kind of had this conversation with my brother-in-law the other night about guys and not being able to share their emotions, you know, because that has always been a big thing where, you know, everybody's grown up like that, I think, for the most part, where it's like you're a man, so you're not supposed to show that you have emotions or cry in front of everybody or, you know what I mean, stuff like that. I sent you the link, Petunia. So I think they should be, and I'm guilty of doing that because I just did that about Facebook. But it's like I'd rather have my dude tell me how he feels. You know what I mean? Tell me, not tell everybody else. Not get on social media and tell everybody how you feel. Like, talk to me. If I did something to you and I made you feel some type of way, like, talk to me. Let me know that that's going on because I'll definitely let you know when you're hurting my feelings. I sent it, Petunia. And I think some people take it further than others because I've seen, you know, with friends that I've had where their dudes flip out and they're like, they're not allowed to go out. They're not allowed to hang out with their friends because they're locked up. So they feel like they're going to get cheated on. And so they act like super crazy. I'm grateful that my husband doesn't do that. It's not that, I don't want to say that sounds weird that he lets me, but we have a mutual understanding when it comes to that. And when I do want to do things with my friends, I do want to go out and hang out. My husband lets me. There is things that he does not want. Certain places that I've been to where, it put me in dangerous situations. So you know what I mean? I understand that. But as far as me going out or even going on girls' trips and stuff, my husband's like supportive. He's super supportive. Where I've seen other, prison wives, if you will, their husbands are like flipping out. They can't do this, they can't do that because he's insecure. He's scared she's going to do something. He's scared that she's going to get cheated on. And that's understandable to some degree. But I've seen it to where it's, like if you talk about it, I think a conversation helps a lot. A conversation can resolve a lot of issues, like just a simple conversation. Especially when it comes to insecurities. I think I told my husband this too at the beginning, like we would fight a lot. And I was like, if I feel secure in this relationship, like I wouldn't trip like that on you. I wouldn't do the things or say the things that I'm saying because I'm secure in our relationship. At that time, when we got back together the first time, I wasn't secure in our relationship. So I was acting crazy all the time. Like I was wilding out at the beginning when we got back together. And, my husband put up with a lot of stuff. Are you going to get on, Petunia? You can. And where's he at? I think that's the biggest one. And I kind of talked about not really so much insecurities, but what we worry about. Like, there is a cause to worry about our men being in there and hooking up with COs. You know what I mean? Like people can say, oh, that doesn't happen, but it does happen. It happens in every facility all the time. I think that would be, I'm not necessarily saying that that's my insecurity, but I know that that's an insecurity of other people. I don't think my husband would do that to me, but he knows if he did do that to me, what would happen at that point. And I don't think he's willing to risk that. But, you want to believe that that with your significant other all the time, but shit happens. So, where is he stranded at? So my husband's uncle's here from out of town, and his bike keeps messing up on him. He went to go see the Bronco Stadium, and I think something happened. So I'm trying to wait to see if my husband will call back. Like I said, their phones are messing up right now. So we're changing over from GTL to Securus, and I feel like GTL is purposely doing shit because they're getting ready. Who cares? They're getting ready to lose a contract, right? My husband literally spent 20 minutes this morning trying to get through to me. Whenever he calls and dials my number, it says that this phone number has been disconnected or is no longer in service. I've had my phone for 14 years, the same number. Like I ain't changing it for nothing. So he has to keep calling and calling and calling back and calling back. And then finally he'll get connected. So hopefully all this stuff starts going away next month. I know it's not just my husband, it's other inmates that are having the same issue. So it kind of sucks. I'm trying to think of what other insecurities. I think that's the biggest one is the whole cheating on both sides. Like, I guess, and even outside here, like inside prison, outside prison, that's a big insecurity for most people is, worrying about getting cheated on. There's a lot of other insecurities. I'm trying to think of some other ones when it comes to these relationships, the relationships we have, being out here and then being in there. Okay, he's not that far from the house. Yeah, I understood that. Petunia, Broadway, 58th and Broadway. He's not that far from my house. Did the battery overheat again? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this short today, guys. I'm sorry. We got to figure this out with my husband, with it being just me now and my husband, just between us two and with these phone calls. So I think probably the next couple of things that I put out are going to be pre-recorded so that I can talk to him continuously and we can have these conversations and then just post them. And then we'll go back to lives once they get these phone situation taken care of, because this is rare for us, but I don't want to keep having issues.
I love red heart.
Never mind, there he is. Hey, babe. Honey.
Did you quit?
No, I'm still on. I think I kind of ranted about the same thing over and over again, but whatever. Like I was talking about guys not like ranting on Facebook and then guys feeling like they can't be emotional. And I think I was just talking about you letting me, or not letting me go out, but you being okay with me going out and not flipping out on me, but how there's other relationships where the guy doesn't allow his girl to, because I have friends like that where the guys just doesn't allow her to go out or do anything or do girls trips or do anything. And I honestly think that's the biggest insecurity on both sides. Like not with everybody, but you know what I mean?
What? Going out?
The whole cheating, like the being controlling and stuff.
Oh. Well, I mean, I think that goes with anybody, I guess. You know what I mean? Because of trust and lack of communication and stuff, and being honest with each other. But at the same time, boundaries. Because people claim to not know boundaries or stuff, you know what I mean? So boundaries are crossed, or what one person thinks is okay, the other person doesn't. So that goes into communication and, being transparent with each other about stuff when it comes to stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true, because
I always think about like some questions when people always ask, and some people think that cheating is kissing's not cheating. You know what I mean? Or sharing emotional stuff with somebody. You know what I mean? Sitting there talking to somebody, opening up to somebody, sharing emotional stuff with that person that's not being shared with their other, and they think that that's not cheating, but you're giving a part of yourself to somebody and sharing something intimate, basically, with them, and you know what I mean. It's a boundary that's being crossed. That's not, you know what I mean. That should be reserved for the other person, but some people think that that's okay.
But that always leads to cheating.
Huh?
That always leads to cheating.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, but some people think that this is something that it's not. You know what I mean? But that's where when you start getting to like insecurities and stuff about, what leads to what. So I think that, you know what I mean, cheating in itself holds a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just all about boundaries and being honest with each other, communicating about what those boundaries are. Because some stuff should be common sense, but I've learned over the years that some stuff aren't. So you gotta let each other know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I smiled and laughed because we went through that too, where I was like, we went through that too when we had that conversation when we sat down and talked about everything. Do you remember the first time I cried and you were like, "That's common sense," and I'm all like, "Well, like I'm not dumb." And I have common sense, but the way you were thinking and the way you were putting it, like you were right. It should have been common sense, but I wasn't thinking about it in those terms.
That's just like when you and I were talking about the show we were watching, Temptation Island, how one of the broads, she was on there and she's like, they start asking her some sexual stuff and she started getting into it and stuff. And I was like, well, see right there, that's a boundary because she shouldn't, if she has a man and she's supposedly in a relationship and loves this dude or whatever, she wouldn't open that door to share that type of information with another dude outside of her relationship. You know what I mean? That's a boundary. That's a boundary you don't cross. That's a boundary that you don't allow someone to know and be on the other side of, you know what I mean, outside of your relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where boundaries need to be set in the beginning. But that's where trust and communication comes into play and all that.
We're not going to talk about that show because you already know how I feel about it. Like all of them are ridiculous. All of them. Like I think it's funny how each one of them does that bonfire and they're all like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he did this. He did that to me or she did that to me," but they're doing the same shit. Like one guy on there justified him cheating on his girlfriend and having sex with somebody else by saying, "Well, I had an emotional connection to her. She's just being willy-nilly with this guy." And it's like, first of all, you have a lady, so you shouldn't be having an emotional connection with anybody. And on top of that, like, you still cheated. You know what I mean? Like, whether you had an emotional connection or not, like, you have a chick. But at the same time, she was wrong. She's over here crying, saying he's cheating, but she's over there talking about sucking somebody's dick on TV. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you just disrespected yourself, your man, and your relationship.
They went in with all kinds of insecurities about each other anyway. Because that's why they're on that show. But you got to go to a show like that. That shit's up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's dumb. Like, what?
Yeah. But I think insecurities are like a little bit of everything, I guess. Because I think girls, in some ways, like I'm not saying just because I'm just clowning, but I'm saying like just in general, like, you know, sometimes girls feel like, oh, you know, this girl is younger, or this girl is this, or this girl is this, and maybe he's interested in that, and they can't be comfortable in themselves. So sometimes, like how we were talking about earlier, sometimes it's an insecurity that has nothing to do with the person that they're with. It's just an insecurity within themselves, whether it's past trauma or just maybe self-consciousness or low self-esteem or something like that causes that insecurity as well.
Well, I think I was trying to say that too. Like, I agreed with what you were saying about things triggering an insecurity, you know, like something you did would make somebody feel some type of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like if I lied, then that would make you think like, you know, is it new car smell or whatever. So I kind of agreed with you on that. And then I was like kind of backpedaling because I'm like, he said girls are more insecure, but I think guys are, because I told you how wild social media is. Like, I've seen a lot of guy friends that I know that are Mr. Macho, tough, this and that, but then they get on Facebook and they cry on there about everything. You know what I mean? And I'm just, but at the same time, I'm like, girls are more crazy when it comes to stuff like that, just because we're more emotional. Like, we have a lot of different hormones and emotions that we go through that heightens everything for us. You guys don't deal with that part. So that, you know what I mean? Like I was kind of going back and forth with myself, thinking about it. But I do, because like I'll fight with you sometimes.
An M&M candy, hard shell on the outside, soft puppy.
I fought with you not that long ago, and I was upset, and you're like, well, why are you upset? Why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just upset. Like, do you remember that? And you kind of laughed, and you were like, well, I can't do nothing if you don't tell me why you're upset. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm upset. I was just upset. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You were like, why are you upset? And I'm like, I don't know. And I was crying, and I was just like, just being emotional for no reason. Shut up.
If I could put it into words.
Oh. Go ahead and say your stupid saying. I don't know what his trip is lately, but he's been saying this and it's annoying. Go ahead, babe.
Okay. You get a bowl, you put a piece of bread in the bowl, and then you fill it up with hot water. And you want to grab this piece of bread after 5 minutes, but when you grab it, you pull it up and it dissipates, it falls apart, it falls through your hands. It's there, but it's not really truly there. You can drink it, but it's not the same.
He keeps saying this. It started because I had to go to Georgia for work. And he's upset because I'm gone. But I'm like, babe, I seen you Saturday. I left Sunday. I came back Friday and I went to see him again Saturday. But he's like, it's because I'm not in the same state with him. So it feels different. So he was upset about it.
So would you say that made me insecure?
No, I'm just saying that's where you started with the stupid.
Go into the water and I wouldn't be able to grab it.
Yeah, that's where that, because that's exactly when you started saying that about the stupid bowl and the bread. You're like, you're here, but you're not here. Like, what? What? So did you talk to anybody else and ask them what their insecurity was?
What?
Did you talk to anybody else in there and ask them what their insecurities were?
Yeah. I gotta find them first.
Oh my God. Who is it?
There's nobody even out here. Like May, Chaos. Hold on. Ernie, where's your Stanley at? Love you.
We'll see if all of their insecurities are the same thing that we're talking about. Because it seems like even with other insecurities, like it still feeds into that major one. You know what I mean? Like it's still about cheating and stuff like that. Like I think that's everybody's insecurity. Like whether they want to admit it or not, that's what most people are worried about.
Here he comes.
Who? Chaos?
Here it comes, man. Yeah, this is gonna be chaos. Here he is. Hello?
Hey, Chaos.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm doing all right. We're doing all right. Here, just chilling.
So what is your insecurity?
Say what?
What is your insecurity?
Insecurity?
Yeah.
For sure, it's definitely with like, with like women or like our loved ones on the outside. It's difficult because especially like with the phone situation and not being able to maybe get a hold of our loved one or our significant other on the house at a certain time, or not getting responses at certain times, and thinking that because they're not answering or the phone's not going through, that something else is going on, and it sometimes makes us question ourselves, like it's something going on with us that they're not picking up, or because we're not able to send that text message, we're not able to get a response back as quick, and it definitely, weighs on me personally because it's making me think maybe the length of my sentence too, you know, and that's factoring into it, and why they're simply not picking the phone when they're simply taking a shower, you know what I mean, or driving or something like that. But that definitely is my biggest insecurity.
What do you think, like, when you've dealt with the girlfriend, what do you think that's the biggest insecurity that you've dealt with when it comes to them?
Faithfulness.
So the same thing?
Them being faithful. Yeah.
No, I mean on their side. So like if you have a lady, you know what I mean? And she fights with you, what is she fighting with you about? Like what is her insecurity when it comes to you?
I'm sorry, it was kind of loud. Could you repeat that?
So like when you have a girlfriend, like when you have a lady and if she fights with you, like what have you noticed is the other person's biggest insecurity?
Us talking to other people, like with as far as her being insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely probably thinking the same thing, almost like us, venturing out and talking with other females because they're seeing that maybe we're not giving them much attention too. You know, they're thinking, oh, well, he's used a different avenue to reach out to other females. He's you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's funny. I just asked you that because that's what me and my husband were talking about. Like things that trigger you to make you insecure. So like that, like I used to fight with him when he didn't call me and he used to piss me off because he would say, oh, I got to meet the quota for the day. You know what I mean? But I was thinking that, like, I would be thinking, you know, like, who the fuck is he talking to? If he's not calling me, like, he's talking to somebody else. But I think it's funny because it's like that's everybody's number one insecurity on both sides is the whole cheating. Have you seen any other insecurities or is that basically the main one?
Yeah, with me, that's the main thing, for sure. Yeah, that's the biggest insecurity that causes the biggest arguments. And then on the flip side of that, too, like, we're locked down a lot, you know, and just unexpected stuff happens all the time, whether shakedowns, fights, or whatever, and then that causes insecurity with our significant other, and they're thinking that, well, he's not calling them because of this argument we had, you know, but in reality, they're running dogs through here, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something stupid. It's just dumb. Yeah.
So if there's any of our TikTok ladies on right now with us, this is Chaos. I'll be posting his pictures sometime tonight. He's looking for a pen pal. Put yourself out there. Say something about yourself.
Yeah, so like you said, this is Chaos. Doing a little bit of time here. Called out for some drugs. I definitely got whacked over the head for some distribution. Doing a little chunk of time. Feel like I got taken advantage of with the things I got. Unfortunately, you know, it is what it is. I'm here now, and I'm just trying to reach out to someone to meet, someone new, someone that's down for the ride, really, someone that's a good-hearted person, because doing this little time alone kind of takes a toll on you. I definitely got a little bit of action here because it's not a violent crime here soon, and a couple years, really, got to get out, but you know, the people that I did surround myself with, they kind of freaked out when they seen the number I got, but in reality, like I say, it's just a drug crime, and they don't know that I'll be out soon, really, and I'm trying to find somebody good-hearted like myself, somebody that'll keep it real and is down for the line, really.
So I'll be posting his picture soon. I think we're going to do, I don't know, I got to talk to my husband, see if we could do like a little love connection hour on here too.
Say that again. It's my freaking loud over here.
I said I'm going to talk to my husband about that. Maybe we could do like a little love connection hour here on our channel. All right. Well, thank you for coming on and answering the questions. My husband right there?
Yes. Thank you for having me too. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Yeah.
Is that you, nephew? Hey, babe. I think it's my nephew that's on, babe. He said relationships are hard for both sides. Greyhound laid it out well about boundaries and trust. Basically, the insecurities go hand in hand.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I just got bit by a mosquito. But they are hard and they work. But self-love and respect is a big deal, too. Yes, it's me. Hey, love bug. But yeah, it's crazy because when you talk to anybody, like that's the first thing is cheating. And I don't think it's just an inside there and outside here thing. That's like in any relationship. You know what I mean? Like I learned that a lot too with the like me and you talking and being open and honest, being open and honest with each other about things, you know, that does definitely help. I'm not saying we still don't go through that, but it took that away. So relationships are hard, dude. Like no matter what kind of relationship you're in, whether it be your spouse or a friend or family, like relationships are hard because you're dealing with different people and different people feel differently. You know what I mean? The way I might feel about something, somebody might feel totally different. Hey, nephew, are you ready to be an old man tomorrow? Don't think I forgot, sir. Let's see if he's able to call back. Yeah, you're ready? You little old fart. I remember when you were just a little tiny round brown baby. What is your biggest insecurity, nephew? I'm trying to think like what other insecurities do we have? Because you notice insecurities about yourself when things pop up. Like I'll sit here and be like, that's the number one about relationships and about your husband. But I'm like trying to think like I know I have other insecurities. You used to have insecurities about muscular fit dudes big time, but so yeah, like self insecurities, I have that. I go through that. And I think it's hard because if you think about it, like you're the hardest on yourself. Like for the longest, my biggest insecurity is, I started gaining a lot of weight there. And like I noticed, I was talking to this about, so I was on a business trip. I was out in Georgia training because we're about to hit our busy season, right? And the other trainer that came with me, she was, being insecure about her braces because she's an older lady and she got braces. And so like I noticed that everybody she talked to, she brought that up, right? She'd be like, I'm so sorry. I know I'm too old. I might look like a nerd because I have braces on. And I'm like, nobody really notices them. Or, I didn't even think it was weird, but you pointed it out. And like we had to introduce ourselves to 3 different classes that we were training, right? And I told her, like, you could tell that, like, that's your biggest insecurity because you keep bringing it up to everybody. And I told her I used to do that because I was gaining weight and gaining weight and gaining weight. And everybody I talked to, like, I noticed that in myself that I would bring that up. I bring up my weight for some strange reason, And now that I'm down 70 pounds right now. So now that I lost a lot of weight, like I noticed that I don't bring that up in conversations at all. Rarely if somebody asks me something, well, it's usually because, I can't eat. I had surgery and I can't eat like I used to be able to eat. So I can only eat tiny amounts of stuff. And they'll be like, why aren't you eating? You never eat. Why can't you have sugar? Then I'll talk about it. But other than that, it's not like in every conversation thing, something about my weight. Self-love, self-respect is a thing for me because it's not her fault this guy's handsome. That's my insecurity. She ain't even looking over there. It's me tripping. Used to be bad. Now I chill out. So I get you on that, nephew. Hey, babe. So I get you on that, nephew, because I noticed that yesterday when we were at visit, because I was looking at my husband, because there was this chick sitting next to this younger chick, and I'm looking at him like, what the fuck are you looking at? You know what I mean? And he wasn't even looking at her, but it was like that was me being insecure. So what my nephew's talking about, babe, is I asked him what my nephew's talking about. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Are you insecure?
So my nephew, I asked him what's his biggest insecurity, and he said, I used to be insecure about muscular, fit dudes big time, but self-love and self-respect is a thing for me because it's not her fault this guy's handsome. That's my insecurity. She ain't even looking over there. It's me tripping. It used to be bad. Now I chill out. If you ain't the shit to yourself, you ain't to nobody else. That's right, sir. That's right. Did you hear all that, babe?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think?
A loud intercom. I heard something.
I said, what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think?
For his insecurities?
For anything in general. Like, I think that's a big thing because I realized that when you pointed it out this morning when we were arguing, we weren't arguing about that. We were arguing about something else, but that came up.
Why you were tripping on about that girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I didn't pay attention to her. I only have eyes for you, but it was cute.
It was cute.
Yeah, it's cute to see your emotion.
Whatever.
Twisted over me like that.
Whatever.
I still got it.
You're so dumb.
But I get some of those things, you know what I mean? Because he'd be like, does that person got something I don't got? And you know what I mean? I know how like the older insecurities of thinking stuff like that, you know what I mean, in those situations. But I try not to dwell on them type of things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think like for me, so again, don't think like that we don't go through them. For me in my situation, those things do me no good. There's nothing that I can do for my situation to stop some things or to I don't know, just to let myself be getting twisted on something like that. You know what I mean? Like guys, like we talked before about there's guys that don't want their girls to go hang out with their friends and stuff like that. And I'm not the one. You know what I mean? I try not to put this place as a place to keep me confined in the way I think and would react and do things even if I was out on the street. So we do talk about us being at the hip with each other, but you're gonna have your girl time and I'm gonna hang out with the fellas. You know what I mean?
What?
Or I might
What?
or I might be doing something or whatever. So I'm not gonna always be right there. I can't panic because you went to the store, you and your homegirl went to your store, or you went to get your nails done or something, and what did you do over there? Or you know what I mean? Just because I wasn't there type thing. You know what I mean? Like,
What?
I can't get bent out of shape on some stuff like that. So same thing in here. You know what I mean? I can't, just because I'm locked in a box all day, I can't expect you to be locked in a box. You know what I mean? You need to be able to breathe and have a life too. You know what I mean? But as long as I trust you to, be true to me, be true to you, be true to us, and faithful to that and loyal to that, then you know what I mean. I ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you're known for being a liar and being wild and doing this, and this, then I guess I got cause to be insecure, because like, oh yeah, what's she gonna do now? Who's she gonna be with now? What we gonna be? What's gonna happen now? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So my nephew said, he was talking about earlier when he was like, it isn't her fault the guy's handsome. If you ain't this shit to yourself, you ain't nobody else. Now I'm like, those kids are mine and hers. I'm not tripping about nothing now. LOL. The boys look like me and everything. So then he said, after I learned self-respect, self-love, it made the insecurity, anxiety easier to deal with on a day-to-day. I said, yeah, he's preaching. Is this harmful, helpful, or harmful to trip right now? Yeah, so my husband's able to do that. I'm not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I try to tell him, like, if I'm feeling some type of way, I'm going to tell you about it. And I might not always be right, but you got to let me tell you how I feel. Right, babe?
Okay, which was the last part?
I don't remember.
You heard the yelling on the intercom, right?
I know. I was trying to listen to what he said. I heard something and I forgot what the hell I said. What did I say, nephew? I was trying to listen to what he was saying because he was so loud and I forgot. Jesus. Oh, I was saying when I get upset and stuff, and like I tell you to let me just say how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, let me just let it out. And you just got to listen to me.
When you tell me to listen, to understand, and not to reply.
Yeah, and you still don't do that.
Hey.
What?
Chaos wants to say one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
Hey.
So I was saying about, like, you were asking too, like, what do we think, like, females' insecurities are towards us, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is, so, like, I had, for example, like, I had an argument with somebody I was with in the past year, and she said, why are you coming at me like that, right? Like I was being a jerk or an asshole or whatever, right? She said, why you, one thing that I didn't understand is she thinking like, well, he don't love me or he's doing me wrong or he's got eyes for someone else. But in reality, it's like, as men in here, we're used to dealing with men's emotions all day, right? So whether it's the cops, whether it's whatever, or using the microwave, using the TV, using the shower, and we get in a little argument, we're used to dealing with gangsters, tough guys, people with their chest out, right? We're used to dealing with those emotions all day. So we respond that way. That's all we know. That's what we deal with 24 hours a day. So then when we get on the phone with a loved one or our lady or whatever, and we have a little argument, we come across that way, it's not, it's 9 out of 10 times, it's not because we're being like an asshole or jerk as us being accused of, right? It's just because we're used to dealing with men's emotions all day. And so that's something I wanted to say earlier. I forgot as soon as I got off the phone, because that's just, in my opinion, some real shit. Because that's all we know. But our intentions are just a quick, and not that, but we just respond that way. You know what I mean? Because the reality is, when we get off this phone, we're gonna probably regret maybe coming out that way. But shit, that's the way it is for us until we get out of here. You know what I mean?
So it's funny that you brought that up because there was a girl on TikTok, one of the girls that I follow, and she was talking about that. She was talking about your man talking to you, thinking that he's talking to you and he's being rude to you, but he has to deal with that type of stuff in there. And it's not that he's rude. It's that's the way he has to survive or deal with shit in there. And it carries over to out to us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
get that.
it's definitely, I noticed that, like, on the flip side, because it's not intended that way, but the reality is we deal with shit a different way, and it's not meant to come across that way. It's just always, oh, really? And that the response can't be, well, I'm your lady, you should love me. Well, we do, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just
We do.
That's our instinct. That's our go-to.
So there's one thing I want you to keep in mind.
I got off the phone. I was thinking about that.
The one thing I want you to keep in mind next time you get in a relationship like that, like, just like we don't understand what's going on with you guys in there, we don't know how you lived your, like, we'll never understand it. You can explain it to us, but if we've never lived it, we don't fully understand it. But at the same time, I feel like you guys get lost in there and you don't realize what we go through out here. You know what I mean? Like, you forget that even though you've been out here.
They're calling us to lock down.
Oh shit. All right, let me talk to my husband.
Okay.
Hey. I love you.
Love you too. It just got extra loud in here.
I know, he said they're calling for lockdown.
Yeah, they are.
Don't be getting yourself in trouble, love.
All right, I love you. I'll
I love you. Okay. Wow. Love you. Hey, nephew, what do you feel about getting on here and talking with us one day? I think you're very smart and you can share some of your insight because it's not just, I mean, it is prison lifers, but I mean, you have insight on things that you go through and, you know what I mean? Just like this, like insecurities. Like the insecurities you're talking about are the insecurities we all have and we all go through. You know what I mean? It's not just that relationship. It's in a relationship in general. So when I talk about, you know, it's the same as being in a relationship on the outside. Like, it's the same thing. We go through the same things. Yeah. Yeah, I know about prison life, but I mean, like, you had a good insight about what we were talking about tonight about insecurities. So like your relationship with your wife, you said you went through a lot of that stuff and it's the same thing that we go through. And that's what I was talking about. Like when we came up with the thoughts of this channel, it was like just to shed light on what we go through, but also to show that what we go through is the same thing that any other relationship goes through. But some people miss that. You know, they assume because they're in prison, everything's crazy or everything's so different, but it's a relationship like any other relationship. Our topics and our like insecurities, our happiness, our problems, they're the same as anybody else goes through. But people miss that. People think because he's in prison, I honestly don't know what the fuck they think because it's weird to me that you have an opinion when you don't know. But, you know, it's hard to understand what you don't know. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to shed light on it. But everything you just talked about, like you heard us, we had the same thing. We had the same issue, you know? Yeah. So it's the same thing. And that's what I was trying to say. Like, that's what we're trying to bring light to, that our relationship isn't any different than anybody else's relationship. Like we have the same issues. You know what I mean? The only difference is that I have to go see him there and he's not here sleeping with me every night. But we go through the same exact stuff as everybody else. So we'll talk about it later. I'm going to text you tomorrow, baby, for your birthday, okay? So I'm going to wish my nephew a happy birthday because his birthday is tomorrow. I love you, kid. Even though you're not a kid anymore, you'll always be my kid. Okay, so with that, I'm going to close out, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Married Lifers.